This is the Troutbitten Podcast.
Troutbitten.
Troutbitten?
Troutbitten.
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 Yeah, Troutbitten.
Troutbitten.
It's about trout. Wild trout. This is Troutbitten.
This is the Troutbitten Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Dominic Swantowski. I'm the owner of Troutbitten and the author of Troutbitten.com. All right, welcome back, friends. Thanks for listening. Thanks for all the support and the excitement for the new season. We received a lot of messages in the last day or two, and we appreciate it. We're glad you enjoy the project as much as we do. So I think one of the things that keeps this Troutbitten train moving forward is we're always on to the next thing. Adding in the next series on YouTube or on the website. We'd like to break up these podcast seasons with a conversational format like we have tonight, and then the skills series format. And now we have the In Deep series going with guest interviews with guys like John Shaner. That was our first guest. And next up, I just had a great conversation with Craig Matthews, out your way, Matt, out in Montana. And I'll get that edited and it'll publish in the next week or two. So we do like to do the next thing and like to keep the conversations fresh. But every once in a while, we revisit something, especially when things have changed or maybe there's more to add than what we already talked about. So tonight, we're going back to spot burning. In Season 3, Episode 1, we did Secrets and Spot Burning. That was the title. That was in March of 2022. That was a while ago. And in that conversation, we spent a lot of time on the first part, on what fishing secrets really are, whether they're valuable, whether they're fun, or they're just gatekeeping and trying to keep people out. They're valuable, by the way. And we acknowledge that every angler has their own set of things that they may want to be secret about, whether they be patterns or tactics, or they want to be secretive about spots. And that led us into the spot burning part of that conversation. And in that talk that we had over 3 years ago now, it was interesting to me as I went back to listen how much more fleshed out or maybe nuanced my own opinions are about spot burning. But then I also felt like the Troutbitten guys here were pretty much on the same page with everything back then. But now I'm not so sure. Because I think over time, not only have my own thoughts become more refined, or defined, I should say, I know the other guys here think differently as well. So it's time to revisit the hot button topic of spot burning. What's the big deal? How does it hurt? When is it okay to name spots publicly? Is it all right if it's part of a business? Are there different rules? Or is it accepted for fly shops, for example, to give video stream reports every week with a detailed rundown for what's hatching on every river and which sections are fishing best? Basically, it's a wide, wide world out there, and things change very quickly. So it might be helpful to talk about this stuff again. And I just think it's going to be an interesting conversation. So, hey, it's good to have Matt Grove back from Montana. You look good, buddy.
Hey now.
Steelers going to get it together? Going to be okay?
Oh, man. I was just looking up some Aaron Rodgers stats, and he has more touchdowns thrown in the first, 5-6 games than we've had in like 6 years, right? Since Roethlisberger back in 19. Mm-hmm. And man,
we're scoring on the first drive too.
I think that's what we need. We need a Yinzer podcast, just talking Yinzer sports.
That'd be fun.
Dom could say how much he loves Mike Tomlin.
Nope, the opposite. You're the Tomlin guy. Every time Matt and I go back and forth through text, during the games, after the games, I just always go back to blaming it on Tomlin now. Matt's like, no, it's the players. It's both.
It's the NFL's actually, this year's pretty cool because I feel like there's no dominant team yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like super competitive. We'll see what happens in the next couple weeks, but like right now, it's like you could throw anybody into there's like 12 teams I feel like that could go on a run, including our Pittsburgh Steelers.
All right. And Josh has given us a look. He's like, he's about to tap out. So here's Josh Darling of Wilds Media. Tell everybody about the Bobcat.
Yeah, tonight, before we got on here, I sat in the tree stand for a little bit before it got dark, and I did not see any deer, but I got to see a bobcat smoke a squirrel, and that was cool.
Nature, ruthless.
Yeah. Does a squirrel make noise when it's dying?
It did make noise, and then the trees all around it erupted too with all the other pissed off squirrels.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, about 10 minutes of like just chatter, loud chatter.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Did the bobcat carry it away or just feast on it right there?
Just drug it off. Yeah. I don't think he liked the audience.
Have you guys had any like close, like you, Josh, are sitting in a tree stand, right? So you have some close encounters. Have you guys, while fishing, have had any like
That's a cool
close
question.
bear encounters? Like you saw my video, right? Of a couple weeks ago, which was like Pucker Factor 12 with my first like real grizzly run in. But like back, I had some crazy encounters with rattlesnakes and black bears.
That's
Back
about the
in
most
PA.
dangerous thing we have. Well, we've talked about that. Probably the ticks are the most dangerous thing we have around here. Right?
Ooh,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, they got worse too, right?
Oh my dog yesterday, Aiden was counting. He got 32, I think, 32 ticks off the dog.
Wow.
But as soon as they bite them, they die. So most of them were dead, and the other one's just crawling on them. We got that. We use Simparica. Anyway,
Interesting.
that's changed the tick game for us. My border collie actually got Lyme disease. Anyway, I don't know, man. I've seen a lot of black bear. I see a lot. I'll see them 4 or 5 times a year. Used to see them a lot more when I was fishing small streams. It never felt like I was in danger by them. And I've seen rattlesnakes. I'll see 2 or 3 a year.
I hate
Same thing. I've
rattlesnakes.
never had a close call. Oh, I hate the snakes, but I don't know if I've ever had a dangerous encounter. You seeing that grizzly bear, that would be, if I was in that situation, I would feel probably twice as scared. That's
creepy.
different. That's different.
How about snapping turtles?
Snapping
I've had a
turtle. It'll hurt
close
you.
run-in or two with a snapping turtle that he thinks a rock or you don't know it's there. And all of a sudden you look down by your leg and there's that huge, like prehistoric looking jaw coming out for you.
They say they can like bite off your finger, right? Is that true
yeah.
or not?
Yeah.
They got that kind of
Absolutely.
jaw.
Yeah.
Every area has its own like thing. You know what I mean? And like I said, it's some are more sketchy than others, but all have some, something that could go wrong, right?
I talked to some guys down south. Guys will come up and I'm guiding them. And wild boar seems like something I don't really want in my woods.
Yeah, sure.
We had those growing up in Illinois. Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
did, Josh? You had them in
Jeez.
Illinois.
Yeah, they weren't common, but we had them. Yeah.
You ever shoot one?
No, not me. Not me.
I heard that
I think the
tastes pretty
scariest
good.
thing that I bet so. I had a snake like strike my boot, my wading boot before.
Oh,
A rattlesnake?
No, it was a copperhead. Yeah,
Ooh,
it was a
jeez.
copperhead. And I was walking, it was in Missouri. And I was walking
Okay.
down like a dry drainage to the river, and I almost stepped on it, and it just like double tapped the bottom of my boot. Like it struck the bottom of my boot as I was stepping twice.
Wow.
Like twice in one step. They're fast, man.
Oh, yeah.
They're
I've
fast.
seen them strike, but
Yeah.
thankfully never at me.
Yeah.
Oh, man, you know how I am about snakes. If one actually touched my boot, I might go home just for the day. I'll go back out
Pass
tomorrow,
out.
but
Just
I
for
might
the
go
day.
home for today.
Just for the day.
That's creepy, man.
I don't want anything to do with them.
Yeah.
No, sir, I don't like them. Anyway, that's Josh Darling,
That's me.
who never shot a wild boar.
Nope.
The only guy we have left is Austin Dando. How you doing?
Doing good.
Young love.
Doing good.
He switched it.
No, I switched that for
Oh,
him.
gotcha.
We all have
have that
subtitles. We won't read out our
I
subtitles
have no
tonight.
control over it.
No, you don't. I'm the host, right? So I can change it to say anything. So don't be a smartass, right? Anyway, you look pretty good. You've been fishing the skinny water? I asked Josh before we started. You've been on, this is getting really skinny.
I haven't fished for like the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Been mostly just doing housework and
One arm push-ups.
I don't feel one arm pull-ups.
That's
I don't feel overly inspired. You
I
were
missed
talking about
that.
like the other week. You were talking about the other week.
Yeah.
If we'd noticed the fish size change with the cicadas and stuff, and
Okay.
after the cicadas were gone, I was mostly just fishing small streams, and we have hardly been out on our main rivers. I feel like, but only a couple times since the cicadas were done, and night fishing some, but hasn't been anything spectacular.
Well, the night fishing is something I haven't. I night fished twice this season, and it wasn't real night fishing. I really wasn't even geared up for it. It was just getting dark, and I was like, I'm going to go out and just night fish for a couple hours. And I didn't even have my regular night fishing stuff. So honestly, I didn't like dedicate any night fishing hours this summer. And that's the first time in, I don't know, 15, 20 years that I haven't done it. I was just on dawn patrol. After our beach vacation, I was like, dawn. And of course, cicadas before that, you know?
Yeah.
So did the fish get bigger?
No.
No.
Well, I said that quickly. What I'm seeing is no. I don't know what these other guys think, these jokers.
Same answer as last week.
Well, you wonder if but you said the water's super low, right? So if it stressed those fish out, they could have lost all their, protein.
Of course, it was high and the cicadas were on. So you would think that the trout would have plumped up.
Sure.
I didn't see that though in the month, let's say August. We still had decent flows in August. And I didn't see that. I felt like I did last time, which is very interesting. We didn't talk about this last week with the post-cicada wrap-up, but I thought it was curious. I'm not sure why we didn't see bigger fish. It was big water for 2.5 months, and you had the big bugs. But I didn't see a bigger fish size, but I certainly did 17 years ago. Anyway, I think what often comes with low water, people will say, like, the fish are going to get skinnier. I don't see that. I see that when the water is low and warm, or let's say just warm, that's what prevents them from feeding, I think. And they get just in that stasis where they're not eating much. That's what I think. That's what I think I see. And they might have that big head and kind of a thin form in the extreme, when it gets like that.
Sure.
Low water, man. I don't know. I've gotten some questions lately. Like, do you think it's ethical to fish in skinny water? Everything's so relative, right? But I mean, if it's a wild trout stream and the temperatures are fine, like the trout are going to protect themselves. Like if you can fool one, okay. What's unethical is like I think if you're hurting trout, and I don't think I'm hurting trout when we're fishing skinny water. Now, if it was warm, I think that's obviously a different story. I think it's temperature related.
Yeah, I mean, you're at a disadvantage right off the get-go if you choose to fish really low water, right? The trout have the upper hand.
That's what I'm saying.
You're going to try to catch one fish that blows up a hole.
Right.
I don't know if you guys experienced that. I'm always small stream, you send one fish up the, a hole in your toast. Like,
yeah. So what's more unethical, going in and catching 10 times as many fish, and putting a hook in 10 times as many fish, when the water's up? Or
that's a good argument,
going in and catching one, like you say, and then you blow up the hole?
Right.
Anyway, maybe we should even do a full podcast on that, because I've got a number of questions from local guys.
You could probably put it into all like an ethical podcast in general, right?
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah. So you had the idea for this one too. We'll get to the topic here in a minute. Good anglers know that a reliable fly line can mean everything, but replacing fly lines every season, that adds up. It's costly, it's wasteful, and now it's unnecessary because Restore Line has created the ultimate repair solutions. Restore Line offers products to repair damaged fly lines, to splice fully broken fly lines, and to add a new loop to the end of any fly line. Restore Line's easy-to-use products extend your fly line's life without compromising performance, while also cutting down your environmental impact. So don't toss out your fly line just because it's worn. Restore it, renew it, and keep fishing with confidence. Restore Line, innovation for anglers who care. Learn all about it at restoreline.com. Since 2010, Smith Creek has designed innovative guide tough gear for serious anglers. Introducing the new Fly View Chest Pack System, Smith Creek's most advanced accessory yet. Built from marine-grade aluminum and lightweight PE foam, the Fly View is rugged, modular, and made to keep up with you on the water. Fly View's lid features a built-in 3x Fresnel magnifier, giving you a clearer view when you're tying on fine tippet, especially if your eyesight isn't quite what it used to be. With 5 swappable tray styles and an external lid patch with a magnetic fly holder, the Fly View chest pack can comfortably hold well over 100 flies, all in easy reach. Spend less time tying and more time casting with Fly View. Visit them online at smithcreek.co for more information. Matt, will you read this question?
All right. Hey, Troutbitten. This is Steve Ramone from LA. I travel around a good bit and do a lot of trout fishing, especially in the summer when I spend months at a cabin near Bozeman. Hey now. I have a question I hope you might answer or maybe read on the podcast. This topic may even warrant a full podcast episode.
We got so many ideas tonight.
Steve, right? Man, he's going in. All right. How often do you have to patch your waders?
Pretty often.
Second part, how do you patch your waders? I have 3 pairs now with leaks that aren't too big of a deal. I use them to loan out to friends who join me, but I figured patching them might not be a big deal. Thanks for such a great podcast. I love the website too. It seems endless. Steve, my first question. Well, I guess why are you wearing waders in the summer in Bozeman, bud?
A lot of people do that, don't they?
Yeah, but it's not needed.
No, I
you
agree.
do. It's just like it's the time to wet wade to save those waders. You get leaky waders in the fall and winter.
Mm-hmm.
Now listen, we don't have the tick problem you guys have.
That's something.
Because I would seriously consider wearing waders constant. Like if ticks, thing. But like in the summer, man, from mid-June to first weekend in September, it's wet wading season out here.
Josh, what temperature do you think ticks are most active at? Or what time or temperature were they mostly a problem?
Yeah, 80s.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I think so.
So what I see, and I'm not disagreeing you. I'm telling. We have disagreement coming up. What I'm saying is,
I'm gonna find out.
Yeah. No, I find them on my dog when it's in the 40s, 40, 45, 48, 50. That's when I think, the ground's cold and the dog walks by and they're like, oh, something warm, jumping on. And that's when I get home and then we'll get, 20 ticks off the dog that are just crawling around. But in the summer, I might find a couple. Obviously, that all has to do with exactly where you are. And if you're just sitting there, like, if you're hunting.
Yeah, I'm curious about that.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
50 to 75 is prime activity.
Oh, that's what you were doing. You were.
I was looking it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Below 45, ticks are mostly inactive. 50 to 75, prime activity. 75 to 85, still active, but may move deeper into leaf litter.
Now we know.
Interesting. Now we know. Anyway, Trevor would have known that.
Matt, answer his question. Don't tell him he shouldn't wear waders. Come on.
No, I mean, everybody has to patch their waders at some point, right?
Well, they used to. Lots of people I meet are like, I don't know, am I supposed to? Lots of people just send them back when they get one pinhole.
Yeah, like it. You have to break down the patch in general, right? What's the leak? Is it a pinhole? Is it a rip? Is it a seam leak? Is it a booty leak? Like those are 4 different.
Boy, that's good. Okay, we're gonna do a full podcast on that.
You dissect it, right? It's like, okay, if I have one of those, I find the easy ones are the ones I got like a barbed wire fence I'm crossing and it nicked my waders and there's a hole in it.
Just a little pinhole.
I personally go on the back end, like inside that spot with the patch kit, and then I do goop on the outside too and zap it with the so it looks like ugly. Like an ugly blob on the front, right? But that's always been good to me. Like that's always held up when those types of nicks. So that could happen, I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't happen a ton, but if it happens once a summer, you know what I mean? Then that's kind of how I remedy that situation. For the seam leaks and the booty leaks, I think all of us maybe fish a different pair of waders. I'm a spokesperson for the G4, so I've had like
designated.
Like I love the G4. But even like if I get a good seam leak there, man, I don't know. I found it's always been hard for me to fix seam leaks
in the booty, in the crotch. Like it's just it's tough. True. I mean, it's just tough for me to handle that. Although, and in that sense. That's when I would default to maybe consider sending those back for a professional to look at with all their newer equipment. So I tend to patch my waders personally when there's like pretty visible pinholes and or strip, like rips.
Yeah, I think it's pretty reasonable.
What about you guys?
I've come to, I'm pretty much the same. I mean, in terms of what I'm willing to try to remedy, it also depends on the condition of the waders. Like if they're old and raggedy and I've already tried to patch them 1 or 2 times and then I get the seam leak and like they're not worth much to me, I may see like if there's anything the manufacturer is willing to do, but I'm also willing to just throw in the towel at that point. I've come to really like the UV Aquaseal style patch.
I did too.
And I do it from the inside, and you can either rig your waders up in a multitude of ways to locate the leak. That might be a different question, but
right.
I've gone as far as getting in the tub with them on. Did that. It was like the first week my wife and I,
with a cold beer.
after my wife and I got married,
With a cold beer.
I got in the tub with my dirty waders on, like this pair of pants to try to
watch
locate
yourself. This
the
is
leaks.
PG, man.
She walks in and she's like, "What are you doing?"
And so
like,
it's
the whole
come to
tub
this.
turned brown.
That's what she said.
Yeah, I'm trying to fix the leak. Anyhow, or you can do like fill it up with the air
Is
machine
that a
and soapy
pinhole, or
water.
are you happy to see me?
I'm out.
I can't believe it.
Or you just fill them up with water. I do that sometimes.
That's
too.
what I
Fill them
do.
up with water and hang them off a ladder outside. You got to do that before winter comes, though, because then you run out of easy places to dump 10 gallons of wader water.
I do it in my kitchen.
But anyhow, yeah, I like that AquaSeal style UV curing stuff.
Jarling?
Yeah, I like AquaSeal. I like the UV stuff. Usually do it from the inside as well. Usually do it both, like inside, outside. You can just let it.
You'd like Matt with the double.
Double duty.
Yeah. If I know exactly where it's at. If it's a seam, I usually don't try to do anything.
I know.
I just call them done. Usually, if there's a seam, but
Sims yelled at me one time for repairing a seam.
yeah,
And then like a year later, I had to send them in for another thing. And they're like, these, you messed it up. Now we can't repair the seam. And I'm like, well, your seam failed in the first place. This was a lot of years ago.
Sure.
Yeah, the seam leaks are tough. I always say, like, if the seams leak, that's the company's fault. I didn't do that. But like you're saying, Matt, barbed wire, and man, we got a lot of briars and thorns and stuff around here. That's what usually happens to me. Like you guys, I'll find the leak and then usually circle it with a Sharpie and then let them dry out. Well, because I fill them up with water. And I just do it from the inside. Usually it's just a pinhole.
You fill them up in your kitchen?
I do. I turn them inside out, fill
How
them
do
up.
you do that if it's like up higher?
Right. Let's say from like mid-thigh up. Once you get...
You hang them off the
seriously,
cabinets.
Yeah, well, mid-thigh up, you're starting to... You got a lot of water, and there's a lot of pressure on there, too, on
That's
the
what I mean, yeah.
waders. But Bill kind of gave me this idea. You ever see Bill's board system? He lays them down like a board that's kind of elevated just a little bit. Like it's got a little, like a ramp.
It's got an
let's
angle
say.
to it, yeah.
Yeah. And not a real steep angle either. Pretty good idea. So I simulate that with like chairs and a board.
Gotcha. Nice.
Do you guys ever use like tenacious tape? You know what that
for
is?
backing, essentially, on a patch?
Right. Yeah. So
If
you
you got
like
a tear.
use Aqua, like even if you're just sure that you've got a leak, you use AquaSeal. You cure it, and then you put a strip of that over it, just slightly bigger, and then cure that again, and that just protects that AquaSeal from rubbing and getting.
That's pretty cool.
Getting off.
Yeah, I like
it's
that.
Yeah. So it's we've talked about pinholes. When you do have a tear, if we're talking to Steve here again, I think you need to have some kind of backing or some kind of patch. Matt brought up that some companies will give you a repair kit, and I always thought it was funny.
Right.
They'll give you a piece of Gore-Tex. I'm like, it doesn't make any sense because it's not going to breathe anyway because I'm putting AquaSeal and then this patch on top of it. So you can make the patch out of anything. It doesn't have to be any special material.
Right.
I say anything. I use nylon. Like you were saying with that tape, that's a very durable tape, that tenacious tape.
Mm-hmm.
And that could serve as a good, I'm calling it backing, but that's like,
Yeah.
the AquaSeal's in between that, your patch and your waders. I never, maybe once or twice, Matt, I did the double duty thing, but my dad does that all the time when he patches them. I'm telling you, people don't patch them nearly as much as they used to.
Well, if you're Steve, you just give them to your buddies. They come out to visit you.
You guys wear them.
Yeah, right. He just loans them out.
He's giving them out to his buddies.
That's great.
He's like, it's not a big deal.
Still
He only leak a little.
I take it back. Steve is probably wet wading. He's giving his buddies. He's bringing his guests out. He's just giving them leaky waders.
Yeah.
So they don't come visit him in Bozeman anymore.
that's
Good
not
job,
nice.
Steve.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Josh,
Yeah.
you and I have come a long way since wrapping ourselves in dorm room trash bags.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
We've all been there, right?
So real quick, before we move on from this, how long for the listeners do you think like it's acceptable? How many outings before you should start to have to deal with this stuff aside from the jaggers and the barbed wire fence?
Seamless.
Depends on the weather.
So it just seems booties, like from your experience, like if we all had to pick a number,
Right.
because we all wear different waders, it's like, hey Steve, if you put 50 days in, and you start experiencing that, like it's welcome to the industry, or are we going to go higher than that?
Right. And days is so important because people will say, I've had these waders for 5 years, and then they fish
20 days in that 5 years. Yeah.
So we get the difference. But Matt, even what kind of days you putting in? You hopping over the guardrail, standing there, and you know, casting for an hour. Or you getting hard after it, and you used to ride a bike, you know, where you used to fish.
I had some issues.
I know we talked
that
about
in the
that,
crotch for sure.
Sure, it almost makes sense. It's almost like not fair to expect them to last, you know, especially long. I do the 100-day gear review on Troutbitten for a bunch of gear. I feel like if you make it to 100 days and you're going pretty good with maybe a minor failure with, and I'm talking across the landscape of gear, whether it's fishing vest, I've done, you know, waders, boots, stuff like that. You know, 100 days is getting somewhere.
Yep.
And I want them to last a hell of a lot more than 100 days. But I kind of kept track when I was fishing the cicadas, and I was covering 2 to 3 miles of river. I was walking that far in a day. I'm not saying I was covering 3 miles of water.
That's a lot of water too.
It is. And it's, you know, I was covering a lot of water, and I was also walking other places and through the woods and up and down. Austin, you talked about weather. You think that matters too, as far as how they beat up a wader, huh?
Well, sorry, I thought the question that Matt was saying is how long will you accept a wader that has a minor leak before you got to do something about it? I misheard what you said. Yeah.
No, I was just thinking how long, but like I'm interested on
what your weather does matter though. With what you said, Matt, though, like if you're not wet wading through the summertime, you're automatically losing life out of those waders. Whether you're measuring it in days of usage, you're not losing it, but over how long they're going to last you from the time you purchase them, you're diminishing that. So,
do you think the humidity, like the mold humidity, can deteriorate that?
Yeah, I have done that to my waders before.
Yeah.
Go back to college again. I used to put my waders in a trash bag after I was done fishing and throw them in the corner because they stunk so bad. And my roommate just wasn't okay with me hanging them up, and they grew lots of organisms.
Well, you also bought them used, which was disgusting.
No, those ones were new. No amount of
you had a
Lysol spray could fix that.
Wow. I have some workout clothes or some running clothes that are like that.
Oh, well, that's not
kind of embarrassing.
You should wash your clothes.
Oh, I wash them, but I don't know, man. Well, that's a whole other story.
Another podcast.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I was one more follow up there. Oh, Matt, so what's your number, Matt? What do you want?
I think you're spot on, man. I think if you get to that 100 zone, like you should be celebrating those waders. You know, I think often we kind of, you know, we hate on the waders in general in the industry, but there should be celebration when you get to that century mark. Like
and it's not good enough, but it's a starting point.
It's reasonable to have some issues after that 100-day mark, and it shouldn't be, you know, a shock to any of our listeners, I guess.
I always said it was a benchmark, you know. But waders, I've said too, like, I don't want to make waders and sell them to people. I would never want to make something that I know is going to fail.
Right.
And come on. I mean, we all are on the water more than 100 days a year. So we say in this pair of waders can't last you 1 year, you know? That's pretty rough.
Sure.
I don't want to sell something, boots, waders, stuff like that I know I'm giving something that it's going to fail. Of course, it's not just in, you know, fishing gear, but in general.
Sure. Well, I never realized until I moved out here how big the duck hunting waders are.
Oh, they're
like just, I mean, it's a whole other, it's like, I wonder if they are like, shit, I got a pair of leaky duck waders, like in the same way we do as anglers, right?
But they're built differently. I've looked at those.
Yeah. They definitely are.
Yeah.
Like, people hunt. I mean, people use those and hunt.
Thought about getting them
in moose hunts in Alaska. Like they never take off their waders. Like, I've been naive to that, but now I'm like, wonder what the duck guys do. How do the duck guys patch their waders?
I wonder what the duck guys do.
I just posted about that. I was talking about like some revolutionary new game-changing wader formula for waterfowl.
With Sika?
Yeah.
Everybody, you know, we'll get to test it out. I can guarantee you, like Dom said, if somebody does figure it out, everyone will know about it.
Yeah. All right. You guys ready to move on?
Yep.
Steve really got us going on that, right?
Thanks, Steve.
Good topic. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Steve Ramon. I mean, thanks a lot, Steve Ramon. All right, let's do this. We're going back to spot burning. So I've been wearing Tajima polarized lenses for over a year now, and I can tell you they've changed my vision and my comfort level on the water. First, I chose a progressive prescription, and I haven't looked back. Previously, I was carrying readers on the stream, but by putting my prescription in the glasses, I put my Tajima lenses on at the beginning of the day, and I never take them off. Second, my go-to lens choice is Tajima's Yellow-Green 40 Silver Mirror, because with their high light transmission, they're perfect for the cloudy low-light days that we all love so much. On brighter days, I choose Tajima's Brown 15 Green Mirror because they block more light and eliminate eye strain when the sun is strong. Prescription or not, Tajima takes any of your existing frames and puts the finest polarized lens technology into them for a fraction of the cost of a new pair, with purpose-built lens tints and colors designed for fly fishing and matched for your conditions. Tajima's service is also second to none. My Tajima lenses aren't an accessory. They're a key piece of daily gear. Send in your own frames today. Visit tajima-direct.com. That's TAJIMA-direct.com. Upgrade your lenses and see what you've been missing. Tactical Fly Fisher was founded by Fly Fishing Team USA angler Devin Olson in 2015 to make the gear and knowledge he'd gained at the World Fly Fishing Championship available to all anglers. Tactical Fly Fisher's goal is simple. They sell the latest and best fly fishing and fly tying equipment and help you learn how to use it through their videos and books. Visit their store at tacticalflyfisher.com and use the code TB15 to get 15% off your first order. That code excludes rods, reels, tying vices, waders, and boots. I mentioned in the intro that in Season 3 we did an episode titled Secrets and Spot Burning. Not too long after, Josh and I started putting out more video content. And you have to fish somewhere, right? I'm talking about Troutbitten YouTube content. And we needed to film somewhere. You have to show something. You have to show the river. So I remember kind of considering this, because I never really needed to before, this aspect of things. And I kind of had to decide, make some choices, what I thought was okay and what wasn't. And like, trust me, I thought it through pretty well. I think regular Troutbitten listeners, readers, viewers out there understand that we never mention stream names. Like, that's our thing, I guess. Is we just decided that a long time ago. It's easiest that way. We make a point of that. And it's become easy for us to avoid names in our conversations. We'll say, one of our bigger rivers, or one of our favorite waters, or Austin's home water, or whatever. And if people know that's what Austin's home water is because they're his buddy or something, that's fine. Like, we don't care about that. But we're trying not to do the easy spot burning thing. After I started doing the fish and film videos on YouTube, and when we brought on trout routes too, as an advertiser, for example, I also answered a bunch of questions and I'll say misunderstandings about like showing a river in the fish and film videos. Cause now I was fishing and not just talking about tactics, but now I'm, fishing, and then supporting that app too, the Trout Routes app. And I'm sure we'll get into all of that tonight. I think it's going to be a good conversation. Now, somewhat in response, or just to make things clear, maybe in my own head as much as for listeners, I also took an article that I'd written back in 2018, and I made a Riverside video out of it on YouTube. I published that a few months ago. And that's just me talking through how I think spot burning hurts, but these other things that I'm mentioning actually help. All right. And then a little while ago, Grobe here brought up some good points in our group chat, like a week or two ago. And we all realized that going back to this spot burning topic would be a pretty interesting discussion, because I think we have some differences here. It'll be fun to talk them through. So let's do that. You guys got your boxing gloves on?
Hey, now.
Are we? I'm curious to see how different. Yeah. I'm curious to see what we think.
Well, and I think leading into that, the whole, you mentioned just a couple years ago having an opinion and then it changing. And, sometimes I think of where I'm at now compared to where I was at 20 years ago, or, it's way different. And I don't know if that's because, I was pretty buttoned up at the beginning, and that was kind of at the beginning of the social media craze in general. So I was really protective of all things, let's face it, we had a secret forum
I know, right?
Good point.
Like for that, right?
It
Like
fosters that, right? If
Yeah.
one guy's secretive, I'm like, I will be too. I get that. Yep.
Sure. Like, so, and then, as, and I think as Dom alluded to, we were with the text, right? I think my thing that I mentioned was, in 2025, right? Like where I'm at now, I'm 44. It's like, can you spot burn a river that's already burned? That was my quote. Right. And, I found myself getting, at times worked up and, upset and why is this person doing that? And then like, when you look at the hashtags, right, I'm around spot burn the Madison River. I'll just throw it out there. Right.
Yep.
And am I really going to try to conceal $3 bridge? Like when 18 fly shops are sending everyone up there and, so what's, I guess that's is that, what's spot burning in that sense? Like, is it okay when the river's already burned to a crisp? Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, does it hurt anything? Like, does it matter? Does anyone that in their right mind really not know, where $3 bridge is on the Madison River? Right. So does that make sense? Like, that's kind of where my angle was with it. It was just like, man, I'm not going to lose sleep over somebody, holding a fish up with that bridge in the background when it's all over magazines, it's all over literature, it's all over the internet anyway, right? So why would I get upset at that in this day and age? But I'm here to hear the arguments.
I feel a little bit like, like no matter who you are, whether you're a fly shop in the area or whether you're a social media influencer, like our friend Dominic here, or whether you're like a guide or just like an average Joe on vacation fishing in Madison, if we're using that as the example. Yeah. Like no river fishes better after it's been named ever. Like,
oh yeah, you're not doing it any favors.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. And so like, the first person who does it, who has any kind of following, lights the fire. And then, every single time somebody just accepts that as standard now, you're just like throwing wood onto it, like to keep it alive, is kind of the way I look at it.
And can they get any more famous? Right?
Yeah.
Like,
I think it can. You know what I mean?
You do?
Yeah. So my thought, totally respect what you're saying. And I hear it all the time. I think part of why you're, maybe I'm putting words in your mouth, but I kind of think part of why you feel that way is like you're tired of the battle. You're tired of like, you know what I mean? Like you can't really change it. And you cannot change anybody. You don't want to be mad at anybody for naming $3 bridge. But here we are, we're burning down $3 bridge. I absolutely guarantee you that more people will fish $3 bridge now. And if they're going out there,
don't say that.
No,
don't say that. What's
I'm serious.
Steve Ramon's gonna find me.
Everybody out there listening now is going, I'm on a Madison. I heard about that $3 bridge. There's, you know what I mean? We didn't do it any favors just now, right? And there's other access points, and but also to your point, Matt, like you're saying the Madison, like okay. Like that, or how can you actually hurt anything by saying the Yellowstone River? I mean, come on.
Well, and that's a good
right. And just in
consider.
Conversation, if a person mentions it, like that's where I've gotten, let's say, much more lax about that. I still won't do it myself, almost to kind of hold myself to that not even a standard, but just that's a decision I made. Like I won't name the rivers. But for example, in that In Deep interview with John Shaner, it was a great conversation. And he's talking about, I won't even name him, but he was talking, if you want to go back, listen, talking about his favorite rivers and the river that he lives right on. And he named 2 or 3 waters. I wasn't going to tell John Shaner during the interview, hey, John, don't name those. That's not my business. When I decided to start interviewing people, I kind of had to reevaluate that. Well, this Troutbitten policy is we're not going to spot burn. Well, am I going to tell John Shaner? And I interviewed Craig Matthews the other day. Am I going to tell him? I mean, he mentioned the Madison. Did he say anything
about the Madison? Yeah. I was going to say.
Yeah, he did.
Right?
Absolutely. Exactly. So I wasn't going to tell freaking Craig Matthews, oh, you can't name stream names here. It's his choice. It's his river too. But sure. I will say, if John Shaner had started talking about like my home water here and naming it, I probably wouldn't have asked him not to, but I might have bleeped it out. You know what I mean? Sure. Because that's a decision that I've made for my waters. Let's say in my content, I'm not going to mention these waters.
So with Craig Matthews, right?
Yeah.
And he mentions the Madison River. And this is kind of, you know, when, if let's say sloop. No, I don't know if that's sloop. He says, hey, where were you fishing today? I was on the Madison, right? It's 183 miles long.
Right.
It's got fish from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, you know, now from a picture standpoint, you know, the topography changes pretty dramatically on that river. Like I know it. I could probably spot burn it from the 182nd mile, and then the number 1 mile in Yellowstone National Park. I have a pretty good sense of what that would look like. But if I'm in casual conversation talking about stream names, is it that harmful to say, yeah, I was fishing the Madison?
No.
And it's all relative to like who you're talking to and the venue that it is. If it's your buddy, or if it's,
I know.
You know, it's fine. This conversation too, it's like as old as I think fishing has existed.
Sure.
This past spring, I was doing a little bit of research on my home water, and the first kind of argument I heard for this place being so-called spot burned was an article that was written in 1958.
I know
and there was like a lot of backlash from that article in the 1950 or in the 1950s there. So it starts this fire and everybody thinks, oh, it's not as good as it used to be. It's not as good as it used to be. And you see these old photos and the caption is very crowded on opening day. And it's the whole river up and there's like 3 people on it. And you know, what was busy then is not what's busy now. And what's busy now might not be what's busy later. And I honestly, I somewhat expect to see numbers decline in the near future.
I do
rather than increase. But either way, it's out of my control. And I always kind of go back to that thing where it's not up to me necessarily to like discover someone else's place for them. So I don't necessarily keep secrets. If I have to call them secrets, more or less just my own discretion. But like if I don't have to add flame to that fire, like Josh is kind of saying, I like choose not to. Not because I'm trying to hold anything back, just because it's a personal choice that I feel best doing.
Well, you never know. I mean, you know, it is all relative, like you were saying, and while maybe the river that you know that Matt's talking about can handle that kind of
because it's 180 some miles,
right? But there's like a carrying capacity mismatch with some of these situations with like especially like our rivers, like tiny access and a big audience don't line up. You know,
that's a good call.
You know, we've got accesses that we know of that can only fit a couple cars in them. Yeah. And we show that, and we show even a decent fish coming out of there. Who knows, you know? Yeah. And a video with 20 to 100,000 views and a section of stream that can't handle that kind of an audience leads to overflow and landowner friction and new gates. And I don't know. The internet moves fast.
And to the credit of the argument, like it's not all black and white either. So I could say that I don't name streams, but that's not true. Like we just said, if it's your buddy, you're going to talk about things. And I go back to an example. When I was at Penn State, we had the fly fishing club, and I made presentations for the members of the club who were new to the school, new to the area, just wanted to go fishing about, hey, here's our streams, here's places you can go fish.
Oh man, you just added so much pressure. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. So take that for an example of what I just said to now, right? But it was to be educational, it was to be helpful. It wasn't a bunch of people who I knew were going to post, caught X brown trout on X stream. There's none of that going on. It was just, hey, I got a car, we can carpool, we can go out fish for a couple hours, come back. And that was the extent of sort of the pressure, but it was worth it to me to be able to help those students have a good experience fishing, just like if we were guiding. I kind of view it in the same light. Like if you take someone guiding, are you spot burning? No, not necessarily.
I say that spot burning is the public naming of streams. Public revealing, how about that, of streams. You may not name it, but if you put the sign for $3 bridge in the background.
It's publishing enough info that an average angler can find
making it recognizable would be my argument.
But I still think, but my opinion on that is like, with that particular river, I don't see it spot burning that piece of river. Like there's certain, like the San Juan River in New Mexico, right? If I have a 28-inch fish and I'm holding it out of the ground in the desert, like you can look on the internet right now and you can see a pile of fish, super big fish out of the 3 miles of river right below the dam in in New Mexico.
Yeah.
So I could go on. You got these like South Platte, the Green River, right? There's all these like destination places that I don't know. In this day and age, in 2025, I just don't know how you can spot burn it.
Since we did the last podcast in 2022, I feel like I've come to understand what you're saying, Matt. And I've also come to realize like almost nobody else really sees it that way, especially so strict as I have. And I still pretty much do. But I'm not going to try to hold other people to it as much. Like you say, you get older and you're like, you can't change people anyway. But you can put your opinion out there though.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important on waters like what you're saying, Josh, like the carrying capacity here. In one of our rivers, we have 5.5 miles of trout water. And then there are only about 9 or 10 accesses. And each one of those accesses, I would argue, can't hold more than 3 cars. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's way different than what you're saying, Matt, on the Madison River or the Yellowstone. Okay.
Sure.
And
so it's regional really, a little.
Yeah. And like everything else we talk about, I mean, we say this almost every podcast. Well, it's conditional. It's relative. All the other factors matter. It's variable. It is. And so I never would have said that about spot burning. I would say, well, if you're saying Yellowstone, then yeah, well, hey, you did spot burn. You didn't help it.
Yeah. Like what's the line when it's, what is okay? What is not okay? Yeah. And I like, just listening to you guys, right? I've been detached from that for a while, but you know what I mean? And it's like, it's totally right. Like
to it.
You get private water. You have to worry about that, right? With things, and then it's not as the limited stream miles, so to say. And I see it's limited. That's relative too, right? Because compared to a lot of places, that's a lot of water up there.
Oh, that's
right?
true. It
you know what I mean?
Even so less carrying capacity.
Totally. But it's I guess like I said, I think the iconic places, where I'm not going to get, I'm to the point now where I'm not getting super upset when I see the $3 bridge in the background of a photo. But there are within that 183 miles. Do I think there's places that are sensitive? Absolutely. You know what I mean? Where I'd be like, dude, really? Right. You know what I mean? Like why there? I guess, I'm just trying to think of those just iconic is what I want to call it. Right. That iconic zone of a stream. And I'm sure we can all think of some that are like, just, oh, wow. Yeah. Everybody wrote about that particular creek in that spot. And that's why people go, seek it out. Right. And cause they've read about it or whatnot. And it's really not a big secret anymore. So I think that's where I'm at with just that piece of the famousness, the iconic zones where I'm less, if you have a thermal feature blowing up in the background and I have my rod bent, I'm on the fire hole, man. Like, you know what I mean?
Get them all,
like
man.
That.
Get them all.
I can't handle.
He's burning them all down. Burning down the fire hole.
Yeah,
Gibbons is next.
Yeah,
Keep
right.
going.
But so some of those places, all I'm saying is it's like, it's, or if there's a bison in the background of my picture, I mean, that's kind of cool. I don't blame that person for necessarily, showing some of that off as much as I might have 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. Where I was a protector of all names and places and like would get angry about it. I'm just more laid back when it comes to certain areas. That's all.
I'm definitely more laid back about it. I'm acknowledging that, but I'm also still, I guess, a protector of it for my own content. Like, I'm not going to name stream names. Matt, I've said this to you before, but I'll say it for our audience. Like, I don't know how we can draw those lines. Austin, you said it's never black and white. And like, how can we say, okay, this river is iconic enough and this spot is iconic enough. I'm not gonna hurt it, or I'm not gonna reveal anything.
Sure.
The other thing, like Josh is saying, you're just throwing more logs on the fire. It's iconic. Okay, and now it's starting to get too much pressure. Some of our rivers around here, they're iconic. They're really well known, and the access to them has names that people remember. I'm not going to talk about those. And I might go on Saturday and there's 10 cars. I don't want there to be 12 cars. I sure as hell don't want there to be 20 cars. So I don't feel like, obviously we say we're not doing it any favors. And I just don't know how we can decide this one's okay to talk about. It's popular enough. Oh, and you won't really damage it. Or, draw too much pressure, you know?
Yep.
So for me, I mean it sincerely. For me, like personally, like that's how I just deal with it. I'm like, okay, I just don't name stream names. I know it kind of sounds silly, but I won't say the Yellowstone River, but I just did. You know what I mean? And that's how I'm saying kind of flippantly.
We're bringing
like,
those up as examples, but
but seriously.
Yep.
And among friends, one more time, among friends, I mean, I'll talk about just about anything, you know, especially these days. I have fewer and fewer, let's say, held secrets.
Sure.
But again, I'm talking about the public naming of things. So Troutbitten listeners already know the crew's favorite beer is Broken Heel's Hazy IPA from New Trail Brewing Company. But our friends at New Trail are hard at work developing our next favorites. Each one is like a different fly pattern because some fit your current situation better than others. Like this one they call 24/7 because it's the beer we could drink 365, crafted to go anywhere, anytime. 24/7's light body and low alcohol make it a must-have when you've got day-long plans but still want full IPA flavor. Then there's Trail Marker West Coast IPA, inspired by classic pine and orange flavor. Trail Marker is brilliantly clear, nicely bitter, and available in 2 varieties, West Coast IPA and Imperial IPA. You can bet the Troutbitten crew will mix these styles into the cooler with Broken Heels. So check out newtrailbrewingcompany.com to find retailers near you or on the way to the river. So I want to tell you about one of the best ideas and coolest products I've seen enter our industry. Kling Fishing Products makes MagGrab magnetic fly patches to level up your organizational game on the water. MagGrabs are made in Montana and feature strong rare earth magnets that offer incredible holding power. You can attach them anywhere you need, from your hat to your pack, your cooler, your boat, the dash of your car, or the bed of your truck. Wherever you attach the MagGrab, you know your flies and tools are secure. New for this year is the MagGrab Rod Rack. The Rod Rack is a 2-part system designed to hold your fly rod securely during fly changes, fish releases, snack time, and any other situation where you might need to set your rod down for a minute. The base plate securely attaches to the butt of your rod with a strong rubber clasp, while the top magnet is easily attached to your waders, pack, or vest. Get them close and they click together. Your rod is secure. So check out Kling Fishing's full line of MagGrab products at klingfishing.com or ask for them at your local dealer and find the Kling MagGrab that works for you.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong on this, but I also don't think that that reversing this is impossible. Like pressure, I think, moves on when hype dies down. And so if somehow it were to become more mainstream to not name stuff, then that's going to be reflected in YouTube algorithms. Like a burned river might stay hot for years because of YouTube search behavior, because every comment and every video that names it is just fueling that. And I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it could cool down, and then it could actually trend the right way.
But it's more than just, it's the experience, right? I always wonder, how many, times can you go out, run into 10 cars, have crappy fishing? You would think that impacts that eventually, to where it comes full circle to where it's this year it wasn't as, I didn't notice it as busy. We have a interesting, in my opinion, we're in an interesting time with fly fishing because we're coming off the COVID boom. Yeah. Social media is probably at its height within the whole industry, right? Where, with the interest level at peak, there becomes more folks within the industry catering to them, whether that's the, brands or the outfitters or whatever, right? It's kind of like the heyday for all that. So, maybe it all will reach a boiling point and come full circle, right? Or maybe something, look what happened. We were talking about the Madison. I mean, the Madison had whirling disease, right? And literally wiped it off the map, and
wasn't quite as
decimated everything, right? I mean, it was terrible.
Yeah, sure.
And maybe it takes something like that for, then shit to rebound, and you're like, okay, to your point, darling, better not hold this fish up in this location, right?
Yeah.
So it's definitely situational to a degree. I think we all can agree with that, right? Some of this stuff, but to Dom's point, you just make the conscious effort to be like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. And,
Yeah.
And I guess you got to just like black out all the other shit going around you, and you live your, fish your way and maintain that level.
That's for sure.
I think some of it too, I just keep going back to the audience. It's just knowing your audience, and whether it's in person or an online presence. And the online stuff, especially, can be difficult to control. So you just have to be really cautious. I mean, all you can control is what you put out there, right? You can't, like the guy who's holding up the fish in front of the bridge, can't do anything about that. He's not going to take the post down because you commented about it, probably. But for me, the way I've kind of just gone about thinking it is, all right, if I'm going to post fishing related content, and I'm obviously in Pennsylvania, and I'm related to Troutbitten, a lot of listeners or viewers may view my argument as like invalid or disqualified, because I'm associated with a guiding program that shows people rivers, right? Like that could be easily the take. But the way that I try to go about it is that if I'm going to post something online, I don't even want it to be hardly recognizable to myself. So that's why a lot of fishing photos or like scenery shots
taken
now.
Close-up shots.
Yeah, it's just the fish and the riverbed now a lot, or the grass behind it.
Yeah,
and that's how I don't have any moral dilemma in my own mind, because I just I've become more cautious than less cautious through the years, and I've gone back and scrubbed a lot of stuff that used to be on my profile.
You know what I've done? I've just had AI change the background.
So you're smart.
Nothing in the nothing. Everything in the foreground's the same. Fish is the same. I'm the same. Background's completely different.
I just have the fish get bigger with AI.
Yeah.
So I've changed quite a bit as far as that stuff. You're talking about backgrounds and stuff. I said that to me, spot burning is the public naming of or public revealing, let's say, of places. And I told you about the fish and film videos. And again, like people may not agree with my thoughts on this spot burning. Say, well, you're riding a slippery, or you're on a slippery slope. Is it really tight rope you're walking there? I don't really think so, but I get it. I get that perspective. Again, I've thought it through, and you might not agree with it, but here's what I think. I started doing the fish and film videos. I was like, well, I want to film. I want to show this stuff, as I've been looking forward to doing this for a long time. And I had, right away, local guys will be like, oh, I know where you were. I'm like, cool. Okay. I don't care if you know where I was. And I'm saying they know where I was because they know that tree. They know that brush pile. They know the path that I was walking in on. But there's nothing, if you were never there before, you would not know that spot, right? And so, for example, like Matt, you sent me the picture of one of my last videos I had. There's a White House up on
I got to keep you honest, Dom.
That's fine. I get it. It sets up this topic.
I sent it to you too.
Yeah, Austin did too. And there's a White House up on the background, on the hill. And like it's not like I didn't know that was there when I was editing. I was like, keeping it in. And I don't care. I guess that sounds callous. But what I'm saying is, you cannot discover that place through my video. You couldn't even use Google to search through it and find it. You know what I mean?
I think you can do more than you think you can.
No, not that White House. I would firmly, no way. You can't do that. Not that place.
I disagree on principle.
You could disagree on principle. Like if the house was more identifiable. Well, you understand what I'm saying?
I get like the brush pile thing, right? Like that's a natural object that occurred out there. You didn't see that man-made object and decide to leave it in. But when you look at a house or a bridge or some sort of structure, like there's no misidentifying that if you've seen it before. So now I 100% know.
And if you've seen it before,
question.
Okay, and I understand that. So this is good to clarify that. I don't care if you've seen it before. Like if you've seen it before, we've talked about this, like you've earned that knowledge. I'm not revealing anything to you. I'm also not showing you like, look, I caught the biggest fish in the world right here. That's almost never, that never is what my videos are about, right? You get my point? Like I sincerely don't care but let's break it down. So how many times can you not tell where I'm fishing when you see my video? Well, Matt, you haven't been around for a while. But I'm asking you guys.
Funnily, I didn't know where that spot
Can't you
was.
almost always tell where I'm fishing? Because you fish around here. Regardless of what I show.
Sometimes.
Oh, I think you can almost always tell. I'm sure Deli can. I'm saying that like
That guy's a closet.
I'm not arguing
creeper
that
on
you
the
shouldn't
internet.
show the background, right? Like for what
Yeah.
you have to do in instructional and educational purposes, I find that very valuable. What I'm not a fan of is seeing like man-made structures that are not questionable to being somewhere else. Like, yeah, that brush pile looks familiar. There's one that looks pretty close to it on the other river. That rock,
See, I don't think like a big sycamore.
that gets fuzzy to me.
I think there's structure and stuff all over those banks that we can all identify really easily. Just as easily as like the only other man-made structure that I can think of that I ever put in was a concrete bridge. Good fish too. But it's the most basic concrete bridge. There are probably 1,000 of them in this county. But you can recognize it, but that's not spot burning. That's what I've said. Like there's spot burning and then there's recognizing. Like I would argue that I didn't spot burn it, but you recognized it. I've always said like, good for you. You recognized it. When Deli would say, I know where you were fishing. I'm like, that's cool. You've been there. Recognize that you see the difference, right?
So what happens?
I think we're splitting hairs a little bit.
Well, what happens
I don't
if
know.
you're
Splitting
fishing?
hairs. It's two really different things. If you could identify it, I'm not being mean. You understand?
No, go
Right?
ahead. Yeah.
No,
we're debating it.
Yeah. I don't think it's splitting hairs. I think it's two really different things. If you lived in Tennessee and you could come away from the video saying, I'm going to go fish River A, man, because that's where he was fishing. That in that spot right there, that seems really cool. I'm going to go to that spot. Then I would have spot burned it. But rather, if you're a local or you've been here and you could recognize, I don't know, anything about the video, then that's a different thing. That's recognizing. I don't know if we have a name for it, but it's not spot burning. It's not revealing. Go ahead.
You're not saying the name.
What if
I
you're
get that.
fishing though, and you're new, and you recognize, and then was that spot burned? Now that I recognize that thing in the background that from the video I watched, and I added a car to the parking lot.
Again, I say like you earned it. If
Earned
now
it.
you've been there and then you recognize, like, oh, that's where that Troutbitten video was.
I got it.
You know what I mean? That's seriously the way I look at it.
Okay.
Josh,
Yeah,
you deal with this stuff, right?
Yeah, and we're gonna have our work cut out for us as things move along, because like you've got programs like GeoGuessing AI now that can take a frame from your video, Dom, and tell somebody where that took if they know that it was in Center County. Like that's just where we're at now. You know, It's like, what do you do with information like that? Like if you know that technology exists, you just stop showing
That's
everything.
crazy.
You know,
Yeah, I know.
like that's a program. That's a program that's available right now. You could go onto that website. You could drop Dom's picture in there, and I'm not saying it's going to get it exactly right.
No, you couldn't get that house. But go ahead.
I wouldn't doubt it as much as you do. Maybe
That's all right.
like it's it's like if you knew the general area where it was, like it might have everything it needs. And so we're just in a different era, and so we gotta take that and decide what that means to us.
But back to that, like, how many different streams do you actually film on?
6, I think I fished.
Really?
I filmed on 6, I bet you.
Okay.
7 maybe, some small stuff, 7 or 8.
But and of those, is there any that are, somewhat more non-famous than others?
Sure.
So like if that's like
Yeah.
you're dealing with what Darling's saying, like based on the technique piece of it, right? Like you're going to accomplish the same thing on River A or River B, right? You're just kind of like if you had to.
Well, no, it depends on what we're filming. If Josh and I are doing like something on, I don't know, like a technique, yeah. But if you're trying to show the fish and film concept, like here's some fish, catching some fish, here's how I'm catching them. There's let's say an adventure or a journey throughout the day or whatever, right?
Gotcha.
Then you can't have the same experience. You can't get the same thing from one river to the next. You need the right conditions. You need the right light. You need, I don't know, if you're looking for a hatch, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it. And I think any business that becomes good at what they're doing, from, Darling, you'll get this with hunting, to fishing, like there's going to be some sacrifices that are going to be made if you want to become really successful at what you're doing, right? I always think of the Meat Eater podcast. There's nothing more successful than that, right? And I know for a fact he's dealing with this stuff on a bigger level, right?
Oh, yeah,
Of spot burning, and like if he lists a mountain range, where he's hunting for, whatever, bighorn sheep or mule deer, right?
Mm-hmm.
This goes back into like, okay, like he said the mountain range, it's 190 miles long by 70 miles wide. Is it, he's a successful individual. Like that always is going to come with that territory, being successful. And Troutbitten's successful, right?
Yeah, I also was thinking about this. Like Troutbitten's really the only business that has this spot burning standard. And again, it's a flexible standard now for me. I'm acknowledging that. Fully understand what you're saying too, Austin, and the rest of you guys. I get a little tired of that. You think about the books that we all read as kids. Humphreys constantly talks about all these local streams, names them, right? And Joe Brooks, and you just talked about Craig Matthews. I mean, naming the waters, talking about the waters that they fished as authors was always just part of it. Almost every book I read. It's funny, John Gierach books, he hardly ever does that too much. Remember, he talks about St. Vrain?
He's good at it.
Yeah, he's good at talking around it. But I noticed when he would go to destinations, then he would talk about that. But of course, then he was from Colorado, right?
Right.
So he remember he said St. Vrain. He would call it St. Vrain. He said I'd fish anyone St. Vrain. Yeah. That's right, Austin. Anyway, most authors, you get my point. Like most authors are like, this is what it's part of the writing. They talk about the rivers they're fishing and how they're fishing and what access and stuff. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I get a little tired of maybe a double standard. Like I don't think Troutbitten should be held to that standard any more than I think there should be more flexibility.
Yeah.
I'm going to hold it to a pretty high standard. You know what I'm saying? But I also want to be able to branch into different, I wanted to do the fish and film thing. And when I have in-deep guests, I don't want to feel bad because they're talking about, they're mentioning stream name.
Yeah, it's an interesting dilemma in that sense. Like, I think of Craig, he's one of the biggest environmental stewards the country has, right? I mean,
1% for the planet. Yeah,
sure. Like his voice is magnificent, and it protects the resource, but yet, he publishes books, and what does more harm? I don't know, right? The easy pressure or the easy access that he might reveal, or the wonderful things he does. I don't know if there's, a right or wrong answer here, because everybody's in a different space, and can influence, we're all influencers to some degree, right? When it comes to this stuff. And I think you just have to do what you morally think is right and try to hold yourself to that at the end of the day.
That's why I like these conversations too, because I do kind of like I definitely like hearing your perspectives. And then I also like to kind of maybe even publicly kind of walk through like kind of the changes that I've been making as Troutbitten has grown. When I started guiding, we talked about that on the last podcast that we did about spot burning. Yeah, I mean, I started guiding, and hey, on the website, I have to list the rivers you might fish when you're fishing, when you hire me as a guide. You can't do it any other way. So there, I'm spot burning. Okay, all right. And that was kind of the first concession that I had to make out of our, tight group, Matt, of secretive guys, secretive fishermen. And along the way, there's been more of those changes. And I'm glad for all those changes, honestly. It's just growth. It's weird, though.
Yeah. But, you're in that zone, like, you're not, there's other fly shops, doing the same thing, like listing the same water, doing maybe more. And so that, full circle brings me back to the dilemma I have, right? About like, well, if everybody else is doing it, why am I losing sleep over this? Right? Because I can't protect this place from a spot burning standpoint anymore. And that's just my personal opinion. Like, now listening to you guys, like, I get it. It doesn't do any favors, right, to the stream by more people mentioning it. And I think, look, I'm specifically just talking about those iconic / you Google a certain region and those rivers are going to pop up, that takes 2 seconds to find out, where should I go fishing in Bozeman. I can tell you a couple rivers are going to pop up for anybody to look at, right? But, when we get into these B waters, I don't think my stance has changed at all when it comes to that stuff. Like, I think there's some truly special fisheries all over the country. You guys have them, we have them, every state has them, that are absolutely the standard of not spot burning, right? Like, that to me is where I'm at now with spot burning. Like, I've kicked it over to that zone and that zone only. The stuff that isn't mainstream, it doesn't need any mentioning on YouTube or hashtags or, publicity of any sense. I guess I've fallen back into that, where some of my home waters that are right along a highway, that are pretty famous. I'm not so concerned with. I want them to stay healthy from an environmental standpoint, but like, I understand that come summer, there's going to be a lot of folks, smiling, catching fish, and in one way, that's what it's all about, right?
Austin said there's going to be fewer people out. You do expect a decline, don't you?
Personally, yeah.
Overall,
I do. I feel like I see it or sensing it to some degree right now.
Yeah. You think just general lack of interest in the outdoors?
Not just the outdoors. I think just maybe there was a certain rotation of folks who got really into it and they're starting to cycle out.
Oh, because
kind of got that initial fix, liked it for a while, it was fun, did it with their buddies, and now, on to something else.
I was just talking with somebody. We were looking over YouTube analytics today, and that's like it's pretty obvious that there's been a steady decline. Not even since COVID. Like, there was a bump in COVID, but there's been a steady decline over the last 20 years.
You can see that in license sales for hunting and fishing, right? It's hunting too, correct?
Yeah, both.
Hunting, license sales. I know for a fact, it's, at least Pennsylvania fishing license sales have been declining. Like you said, they had that COVID bump and then right back down. And lower than it has been ever. No.
But and the COVID bump only took it up a little bit.
Right, not much. What's that, Matt?
Sometimes it doesn't feel like that, right? We're all like, it doesn't feel like.
That's because you're fishing $3 bridge.
Well, I'm not saying there's no pressure.
But right,
I think we will see it incoming.
Most people would tell you though, whether it's hunting or fishing, it's like, oh, there's more people out here, but it's not true. So it's like, why does it feel like maybe fly fishing, right? Like maybe fly fishing in general is more popular, but like angling in general or hunting in general is not as popular. Like maybe bow hunting's more popular, right? Than it ever has been, but general rifle season isn't. I don't know. I just feel like the general consensus, you talk to folks, it's like, oh man, it's busier than it ever has been, right? Like you hear that all the time, no matter what.
A lot of those guys have only been fishing for like 5 years too, and the perspective is skewed. I met somebody down there, kind of an old timer too. He said to me 2 or 3 days ago, I've never seen this water so low. And I grant you, it's close. I mean, it's getting really close. We're getting some really skinny stuff, but just factual. I said, well, it's been lower. He goes, it's never been lower. I wasn't going to argue with him like I'm arguing with you guys. But I
6 years ago,
I was like, well, CFS, is a data point, and it's been lower. But to your point, Matt, I mean, people's reference, everybody kind of wants to be the most extreme. This is the most anglers ever. This is the lowest water ever. Well, we've said it before, right? When you take the best days, well, what people think of as the best days, if it's Saturday and it's sunny and then you're let's just say it again, $3 bridge. And then there's probably going to be more anglers than ever. It's what would be the peak for you? Like July something, huh?
Yeah, July and August. And
right. So it's the heart of the season.
Sure.
You're going to have more anglers than ever. But then as soon as things get a little tough or uncomfortable, then I think there's less anglers than there were. And Austin promises there won't be anybody.
So he gets new batches of anglers every week. Until it's
cold. And I'm in a growing
perspective.
Population too, right? Like
when
I first moved out here, there was 37,000 people, and now there's 53. And I can guarantee you a lot of them have fly rods, right? That's 20,000 people. And so
there's more people.
I've definitely seen more anglers, like more
20,000 people, 60,000 fly rods.
Yeah, right. But it's just a fact. Like it's different than like if 20,000 people move to Altoona, right? Like you don't know if like what percentage of those people would actually be outdoorsmen out here. Like 20,000 of those people
That's why they moved there.
are outdoorsmen.
Yeah.
So it's just like it ends up becoming by default just busier.
Right.
You know, and you know, who am I to tell those people they can't come out here? Like I moved out here.
I mean, you did it, right?
Right.
I've always said like fly fishermen always want to be the last one in, and then they close the door. They're like, okay, I'm in. Let's just let's close it up.
You just can't.
I'm here now.
Like, yeah, you just kind of, you know, and I said, there's always other places to go, right? Like there's always, there's always solitude to be found. You know, it just might not be on that favorite stretch of river you might have, but like, hopefully you get that solitude at different times a year, you know, like when I fish $3 bridge, right? I don't fish it in July and whatnot, but I still fish it. You know, because it's still awesome, right? Like it's still a great place to fish. It's pretty, and I don't know. I just, like I said, I guess the moral of this story is it's like, you know, you can be conscious of things and I guess know what you're doing and how it impacts others. I guess you're left with making the best decision you think, right?
You're good at summing it up.
Yeah.
Anything else, guys?
I think that's it.
Words of wisdom, Jarling?
Going back to what we were talking about and what I said about carrying capacity of a river, it's like you can have a river in our neck of the woods that is maybe not equally as famous as the ones that we're talking about out in Bozeman, but almost as equally as famous because of guys like Joe and because of guys like George. And but they can't handle the same kind of thing. You know, even our biggest and most famous river, if you take 20 people fishing it this like on any given day, completely changes the river. On a river like the ones we're talking about out west, 20 people is nothing, you know. And so I mean for anybody listening, like I mean take that into strong consideration, like with the way that you talk about rivers, like what can that river actually handle? If you're going to make up kind of your own ethic like code for how you're going to spot burn or not, like take that into consideration.
Sure.
That's good.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
All right, there it is. Another look at spot burning. So as time goes on, as technology changes and something like this Troutbitten project grows, I think it's not only fair but necessary to reevaluate or adjust plans or standards. 10 years ago, I wouldn't put any fishing picture online where anyone could recognize the background. But over time, my goals have changed. Sharing fishing content has grown into this Troutbitten project, and it helps many anglers enjoy the rivers the way we all do. Long ago, I realized that a better fishing experience makes people's lives better. Pursuing trout takes people outside into the kind of environments that can ease a worried mind. Fishing, the mysteries that come with it, the purpose, and the friendships all have the power to heal. That's a life on the water. So the mission of Troutbitten is to find those people who need it and welcome them into the depth of this pursuit. And I can't do any of that without showing a few things. So that's where I am right now. And I suppose the particulars could change over time, but not much. I won't name these home waters publicly, but I sincerely don't mind if another angler recognizes a river bend in a Troutbitten video just because they've been there before. Honestly, that kind of ties us all together. So Josh's point about carrying capacity might be the best takeaway from our discussion tonight. Drawing more attention to an area by naming stream names or showing signage or showing, let's say, findable images can do a lot of harm, especially in areas that are already a little too popular for their size. The point is to think about other people before you give up stream names or locations publicly, because every piece of water is someone else's favorite spot. I guess the question is, are you helping or hurting things with your choices? It's a fine line sometimes, right? But other times, the truth is obvious. That's about it for now. I want to thank the guys here for a good, honest discussion, and I want to thank everyone out there for listening with an open mind. Hey, Matt Grobe, will you read us out?
Remember, the Troutbitten Project is a free resource for all anglers. The Troutbitten website hosts over 1,500 articles, videos, and podcasts with endless stories, commentaries, tactics, tips, and more. Find what you like through the top menu and through the search page. Navigate by way of the categories and tags too. Be sure to find the Troutbitten YouTube channel, now featuring the Troutbitten Tip Series, fly fishing, the mono rig, and the Troutbitten Fly Box, all in collaboration with Wilds Media. You'll also find the fish and film videos and the new Riverside series, all in their own playlists on Troutbitten YouTube. Thank you for listening to the Troutbitten Podcast. Please give the show a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and leave a comment, because that really helps. Until next time, friends, fish hard, don't spot burn, enjoy the day, and find your life on the water.
Hey now.
Nice.
I've gone as far as getting in the tub with them on. Did that. It was like the first week my wife and I...
With a cold beer.
After my wife and I got married.
With a cold beer.